In this video, we're going to be taking a look at using CorelDRAW to create a design similar to this. And it's quite easy to do, and there's also some special functionality that we have in EasyStone to help simplify the process once we get the template made. But certainly you can do everything right here in CorelDRAW. So we're going to show you basically both methods here. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and create our template. So I would take my bitmap and right click on it and go ahead and choose the lock object option. That'll lock our bitmap down so we can't accidentally move it. And what we have to do when we look at a design like this is kind of break it down into its most basic form. So for example, if we start here with the enjoy text, okay, that's just a basic rectangle. So we'll come in here using our rectangle tool here in CorelDRAW, and we'll go ahead and draw out a basic rectangle. And if we want, we can go ahead and fill it with a color, and we can get rid of our outline on that rectangle by right-clicking on the square, and that'll get rid of the outline if you so choose. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at our next object here, which is moment. So what I would do, again, I look at that as just a basic rectangle. So we'll come in here and go ahead and draw out our rectangle here as well. Now we want to slant the edges, the corners here, so we have to convert it to curves. So we'll choose this convert to curves option, or if you're just using CorelDRAW, you can hit Control Q. We'll do the same thing. Grab our shape edit tool here and just drag over this one side. Now I want to duplicate this amount of slant exactly on the other side. So the easy way to do this is just go ahead and select the object. Go ahead and hit the plus key on our numeric keypad. That will make us an exact duplicate, and then we'll just mirror it. So now you can see we have the slant over here. So what we want to do is go ahead and double click on the outside object. That will take us back into our shape tool, and then just drag that node over on top of the other one. Now over here you see we have a square end. We can just delete that. So you can see now we have a slant at both ends, and they match. So basically what we need to do is the same thing here. If you look at the word each, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a rectangle. So let's go ahead and create a rectangle. Let's go ahead and convert it to curves. We'll use this button. This is our custom toolbar that you can get off the website. If you just go into the store, easystonetemplates.com, go into the store and click your search box and just type in workspace. You can download this workspace for free. There's a little video that explains how to install the custom toolbar. But we can go ahead and convert to curves and do the same thing basically. We could double click on our shape. So with our pick tool, double click on the shape. That takes us into our shape edit tool. We'll go ahead and make the modification here. And you can see here this is a little bit cupped. So we can right click on this line and choose to curve, and we can cup it. See there, so now we've cupped it a little bit. So now what we want to do is we want to mimic that exact thing on the other side. So let's go ahead and hit the plus key again on the numeric keypad to duplicate it. Let's flip it over. And now we have a little bit different type of situation because it's not as easy to duplicate on the side like it was over here. So what we have is we have another tool in CorelDRAW that's kind of useful for situations like this. If we look at it in wireframe mode, we have our bounding shape that we want. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll use my Smart Fill tool and we can just click on that shape. Now you can't see it here in wireframe mode, but if we go back to enhanced mode, you see what it did there? It actually filled that shape with our color. So now we can delete that outside square. We can delete this outside square, and we're left with a shape that we need. So we'll go ahead and fill moment with the same color. And I guess if we want to, we can go ahead and fill our stem with the same color as well. So now you see we have these three shapes, and this space here is a little bit different than this space here. And I probably want to clean that up. So I'm going to select my first shape and hold my shift key, and then select the additional shapes. So there's my first shape, and hold my shift key and select the additional shapes. So now I have all three shapes selected. And so if I hit Shift A on the keyboard, now you can see that that spacing is even. All right, so now what do we do next? Well, now we have to create the rest of the shapes that make up our glass. Now what's going to be helpful here is if we know exactly where dead center is. So because I'm using CorelDRAW primarily, what I would do is I would come over to my toolbar and just drag over a line to the center. Now, if we have Easy Stone, it's a little bit more simplified where we can just select our shape and hit CVH, and it will automatically add the center line as well. So now, and the reason I want to do that is because when I'm drawing the outside of my glass here, I want to be able to mirror that exactly perfectly to the right. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my 3-point curve tool here in CorelDRAW, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. You know, we're just using this graphic as an example, as a reference image. So it doesn't need to be exact. So we're just going to come down here, and I'm going to come down to right about here, and for my third point, I'm going to come here, and now you can see how that curve is. And then I'm just going to keep going. I want to go from here down to the center point there. All right. Now I've created a little bump there, but that's okay. I'll switch over to my shape tool, and I'm just going to delete that node. And what CorelDRAW kind of does is it kind of smooths it out for me automatically. So I still have this outside path selected. I'm going to grab my 2-point line tool. I'm going to come from the node, hold my shift key, and come straight across to the edge of my guideline, or in this case I've chosen perpendicular. And so now, if we look at this a little bit more closely, you can see we have our half a wine glass. Okay, so we'll go ahead and flip it over. So we just drag from the control handle, hold our control key, and that will flip over an exact copy, and then right click. And so this is what we're left with. It's a little bit difficult to see here. Let's pull it away. So that's what we're left with, a basic wine glass shape. Pretty simple. So now what we need to do is kind of create what essentially is a coloring book page, if you will. So you'll see what I mean here. We're going to grab our 2-point line tool, and we're just going to, just somewhere here, we're going to pull out a line, and we're holding our shift key to get a perfectly horizontal line. And now what I want to do is make a few duplicates. So I'm going to pull this down, right click to make a duplicate to the bottom of don't. I'm going to pull it down a little bit more to the bottom, or to the top of the word limit. I'm going to pull it down a little bit more to the bottom of the word limit. I'm going to pull it down a little bit more to the top of happy. I'm going to pull it down, and what I'm doing is I'm left clicking and dragging, and then right clicking. So that's the motion I'm doing. And then again to the top of 2-1, and then come down again. Now this right here is a little bit different. I'm just going to add a bit of curvature to the line. So what I want to do is, because I want it symmetrical, I'm going to take the center of this line and drop it dead center here on the guideline. And then I'm going to switch over to my shape edit tool, and I'm going to right click and choose to curve. And I'm just going to give it a slight bit of curvature. So you can see that there. And then probably what I'm going to do also is pull this up a little bit. So we're going to do shift, pull it up a little bit. And if I wanted that to be exact, probably what I would do is drag down a guideline, and then I could take this and pull it up, shift, and snap it right to that guideline and have it be the exact same amount. Now, I'm just giving you some ideas here. You wouldn't even have to do this. I'm just giving you some basic ideas here using some of the different tools here in CorelDRAW. All right, so now that we have that, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do it one more time. We're just going to drag this new shape down here, and we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to take this end with our shape tool, and let's drag it up to that one. Do the same thing here. We'll drag it up to that one. And then for the line itself, we'll drag it right down here in the middle, so you can kind of see we've created this shape here. All right, so now the next thing we want to do is draw a vertical line at the end of this hour text. And now we have a vertical line in place. We're going to go ahead and duplicate that line. Again, plus key on our numeric keypad will make us a duplicate. And then we're going to hold the shift key down and our stem and flip the two. So we're going to mirror it. And you can see what's happened here. You see we didn't get the exact result that we wanted. So maybe we don't want to use the mirror what we want to do is take the two pieces. Remember, this glass is made up of two halves. So let's take this over here out to the right. Let's use our shift key and select the other half and our vertical line. Now we can do the mirror, and now you can see what we get here is we get the duplicate line exactly in the same location from the center of the stem out to the right is exactly the same width as from the center of our stem to the left. And that's what we're after. So now let's take all these lines that we've created. We create what appears to be quite a mess here and see what we've actually got here. So let's go ahead and we'll grab all of these shapes. We'll just make a duplicate over here. So this is what we have up to this point here. So now the next step then is to go ahead and use our Smart Fill tool. And like I said, this is kind of the idea of a coloring book where we just fill in the shapes. So there's a shape here and here and here and here and here. And that's what we've created up to this point now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we want to pick up just all of those kind of tan colored shapes. And there's actually a function here in EasyStone that will simplify that for us quite easily. So we just select a shape, we hit the target button, we select the whole design, and then hit S. And that will pick up like colors. And we can pull those away. We can leave all of our construction lines here. And now we've built this template. So now let's take a look at what we have up here. So you can see this is the finished product. This is what it will ultimately look like. And this is the template that we just created. So in EasyStone, there is one extra step that we have to do. There's a function in EasyStone that will allow us to apply the text to each one of these shapes quite easily. So what we need to do first, though, is take all of our shapes, and what I did is I made my glass the finished height of my design, which in this case is 10 inches. So I just changed the size of my glass to 10 inches. You wouldn't necessarily have to do it at this step, but I did. So that's how tall I want my glass to be. You can see it's going to fit on the shirt about 6 inches wide. And each one of these shapes needs to be a placeholder. And to make those a placeholder in terms of the way EasyStone looks at it, we can open up our font manager here, click on our text effects option, and this button right next to Easy Envelope, we just click on that button and it names each one of those shapes Easy Placeholder. And so now we can take our first bit of text and we'll hold the shift key and select our first shape. And we have this function in EasyStone called Easy Envelope. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in CorelDRAW as well for those of you who don't have EasyStone. It's quite simple with both EasyStone and CorelDRAW. Perhaps there's a few extra buttons to click in CorelDRAW to achieve the same thing. But basically what we're going to do, again, we're going to hit Don't, and then we're going to select our shape. And there's some options here in relation to Easy Envelope, which is the horizontal, vertical, original, or putty. And there is really no exact science to it. Sometimes you just have to try a couple of different options, depending on what the original shape is. So if we try vertical and choose Easy Envelope, you can see it doesn't look like we need it to. So we'll just Control Z to undo. So we'll try it again. So we're going to select both shapes. And what would original do for us? Well, let's try original. You can see original does look correct. Well, what if we were to use putty? So we'll choose putty and choose Easy Envelope. And you can see putty also works. And that's pretty common. So depending on the shape that we're morphing our text to, we can use a variety of different options to achieve the same result. So it's a bit of a guessing game, if you will. But we'll go ahead and use putty. So there's Easy Envelope. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a copy because I want to show you the whole thing using EasyStone, but then we'll come in and do it with CorelDRAW as well. So we'll just keep going. Easy Envelope. And because we used putty the last time, we can just keep going. Easy Envelope. And then our hour. Easy Envelope. That still looks good. Enjoy. Easy Envelope. That looks good. So you can see putty worked all the way, probably all the way down the line. We probably have no problem with putty. Easy envelope. So then we just go ahead and let's give it a, if we click and hold on a red square, we can get a nice dark red wine color. And we'll come back in here. And you can see how easy it was to create that design. Now the original design used different fonts to make the design more interesting, but you get the idea of how you can go about manipulating and creating this template quite easily. So now let's take a look at CorelDRAW only. How do we go about basically doing the same thing? Well, it's quite similar in CorelDRAW. There are a few extra steps. So in order for happy to take on the shape of this shape here, what we would do is we would select our word happy, and I'm going to come in here and up to our toolbar, and you see the envelope tool. Now if you don't have our toolbar installed, you'll find the envelope tool way over here. You can see we just come down to you see this button here, and there's envelope as well. So that's why we've created this toolbar for the most commonly used functions to have it front and center here. So again, we would go ahead and select our word happy and select on our envelope tool, and when we do that, there's an option up here that it says create envelope from. And so we can choose that option, and we can just select the shape that we want happy to become. So when we click on that shape, you can see we get this. Now, in order to actually apply this, what you have to do is just come in here and double click on the edge. You see this blue edge here, just double click on that, and it will change the word happy. And then what we have to do, of course, is we have to take happy, and we'll hold our shift key down and select our shape and hit C and E. And what that does is that aligns happy to the shape, and both center and vertical, and then of course we would delete our shape. So you can see there's a few extra steps in CorelDRAW, and so EasyStone just simplifies the whole process for us. So again, we're going to hit 2-1, we're going to grab our envelope tool, we're going to grab our eyedropper, we're going to click, we're going to double click on this line, and then we have to move this into place, C and E, and then we have to delete our shape, and we'll just keep going. So our text, our envelope tool, our eyedropper, select the shape, double click on the edge to apply the shape, and then we have to select here and here, C and E, and then of course we can delete our shape. Now I've already rotated my enjoy text, so we'll select our enjoy text and grab our envelope tool. And I should point here, you see where putty is the default here as well. And we have all of the same options that we have in EasyStone, horizontal, original, and vertical. Again, we'll grab our eyedropper tool, and we shall select our vertical stem, double click to apply the shape, and then we take our enjoy text and our stem and C and E, and we'll delete our stem shape, and then the word each, envelope, eyedropper, double click on the edge to apply the shape, select them both, C and E, and the shape that we select last, I'll just point this out for you if you don't already know this. So we're going to grab moment, and we're going to go to our envelope tool and our eyedropper tool and select the shape and double click on the edge to apply the shape. But very important to understand that the last shape that is selected, that becomes the anchor. So I'm going to deliberately choose moment last. So I'm going to select my shape and then moment, and then hit C and E, and watch what happens. The shape actually moves to the location of the word moment. So what we want to make sure that we do is we select moment first, shift key, then the shape, then that shape becomes the anchor because it was selected last, and then when we hit C and E, then of course moment is moved into place like it's supposed to. Delete the shape, and there we have our finished product. So we'll go ahead and make that white, we'll throw a weed box around it, and there you go. Okay, so that's how you do it in CorelDRAW. It's pretty straightforward. And what's nice is we have this template that we could put any type of wording that we wanted to in there. So if we had some kind of other clever phrase, or you wanted to put somebody's name in there, whatever the case might be, you now have that template that you can use over and over again. But it was a fun little project, and it's super simple once you break it down into its individual components. So I hope you enjoyed this one and learned a little something about CorelDRAW and even learned a little something about EasyStone. Thanks for watching.